Hey, welcome to another update on Archmage Rises, the greatest role-playing game simulator that has ever been built. Well, actually, it hasn't been built yet, but that is being built. And joining us, as always, is Timo. Hey, welcome, Timo.
I'm glad to be back.
I don't know how to say your last name, Timo. I'm sorry.
Meijer.
Oh, okay. That's the easiest last name ever. And Timo joins us from the Netherlands, and that is where our artist Roger is also from. So now you guys can connect up and have a beer together. So there you go.
Okay.
He's in Delft. So
everything is closed in the Netherlands. So.
Good answer. Okay, so things have been going real well on the game over the last couple of weeks, over the last 2 weeks. And I got a bunch of exciting things to tell everybody about. And Nick couldn't be here this week because he told me from the airport that he was flying to Alaska to go to a wedding. And I was like, great, thanks for all the notice. But fortunately, Timo was able to jump in and help us out here. So thank you for being here with us. Now, you've been a fan of Archmage Rises for a long time, haven't you?
I'm pretty sure I watched all the updates so far, so I got involved pretty early.
Holy cow. So that makes you a super fan for watching all the updates. And
there was like a club for that, right?
Pardon?
There was like a club for the super fans?
That's right, yeah. You're in the Fan Hall of Fame.
Ooh, amazing.
Yeah, that's right. You watch these wacky videos and you get in the Fan Hall of Fame and then you get something cool. So you and I have talked a little bit, especially recently, and that is because you are also a programmer.
Yes.
Why don't you tell people a little bit about that? And
it started when I was very young and I wanted to make games, and over the course of my life it got shaped, and now I study computer science and have worked in the business for about 2 years, and I'm now back to studying for a master's in computer science.
Cool.
So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah. So now I've been working on the game, and one of the big issues that I came across with the game is that I have no idea how I'm going to be able to support multiple languages in it. And the reason for that is that when a player goes and enters, say, the blacksmith shop, there's a lot of data that goes into what is happening when you enter that blacksmith shop. So if it's raining outside, he will say, hey, wow, it's still, it's really pouring out there. Or he'll even ask you, hey, is it still raining? And then it will say what he's currently doing. Like if he's working on an axe or a tool or something like that, it'll say, he's hammering away on this tool. And then he turns towards you and says, hey, welcome to my store, or something like that, right? But even the way that he greets you is dependent upon his relationship with you, his first impression, his mood. Like there's like so many things, right? And the thing that he's working on, I don't know if he's working on a tool or if he's working on something else, or he just finished something. He might try and sell you something. Like, so there's like so many pieces to what ultimately ends up being one sentence in the game, which is you see a blacksmith working on a hammer, and he turns towards you and says, hey, is it still raining out there? Like that's like one sentence, right? And so when I look at the code that generates that one sentence, it's pretty complex. It's like hundreds of lines of code in order to put together like that one sentence. And I think it's cool because you're always going to get something different every time you go and you talk to somebody. But then when I looked at it, I was like, oh man, I told people that I would support multiple languages. Try to hit the big ones. Sorry, Dutch is not one of the big ones, Roger and Timo. But I certainly thought about German, and I thought of, some other ones. Let's say Japanese. So I was like, okay, I want to support those languages and stuff. But then when I looked at the code, I'm like, man, this is not like take a sentence in English, translate it into German, and substitute it in. This is actually building sentences, knowing the grammatic rules of the language in order to build the sentence correctly. And I have no idea how to do that. And one of the big stumbling blocks is I don't even know another language. Being born here in Canada, I just learned English. They tried to teach me French, but I resisted the whole time. And so I only end up knowing English. So I reached out to Timo because he's a super fan. He watched all the videos and he knows how to program. And I was like, hey, here's some code. Here's my big hairy problem. Can you figure this out? And so, Timo, what did you discover?
Well, first off, in normal business software and other games, you always want to translate stuff, and that's already quite difficult with just static text. So with the problem of having everything being so dynamic and being assembled on the fly makes it even more difficult. So I've been thinking about it and talked with a friend who studied linguistics and basically come to the conclusion that it is
First
indeed
of all, I just want to interrupt you right there, Timo. I think it's great that you have smarter friends than me. I just want to point that out. I think that's awesome. So I asked you for help and you went to someone who really knows this stuff, and that makes me happy. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. And we came to the conclusion that if you were to try to translate it word for word, or how you would usually do it for business software, that wouldn't work for other languages, because you have to assemble the sentence. And even if you were to do something like make a sentence with 2 holes in it for I'm working on an item and I want to say how good it is, even if you would translate that to a different language, it wouldn't flow right. Parts of the sentence should affect other parts of the sentence, and it becomes almost impossible if you assemble it like that. A solution I did come up with is basically that in the code you figure out that you want to say something and what it is you want to say. So you have some kind of intent of what you want to say. And with that intent, you can go to the translator and say, hey, I want a sentence that fits this intent with this item and this quality and the weather outside or whatever it may be. And the translator can be like, oh, I can translate all of these parts, assemble it in my language. And if you have a piece of code like that, you can give it to a German programmer who can basically translate that piece of code, use his own grammar, make sure it flows correctly, and that the sentences it will produce match the intent that the other code expects. And then it should work properly, hopefully.
Should being the most important word in that sentence.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty good. So I'm curious, do you think you'd be able to program something like that?
For the English parts perhaps, but I'm not a great fluent German speaker or Japanese, so you would probably need a programmer that is native in that language to build the other parts.
Let's say you were making the Dutch version of Archmage Rises, so Roger could play it in his native tongue. But just conceptually, do you think you'd be able to make this kind of translator class? I'm kind of thinking it'd be like a singleton class that you're calling these kind of public static functions on, and it's spitting out.
Yeah, and it's like a function for shop opening sentence weather or something.
Yeah. Okay, so let's take it to the people and ask them. Say, do you want Timo to work on the multilingual translator singleton class for the game or not? Or is that not very important? So I would like you to know, you type your comments and let us know how important that is. I think from kind of the complexity that you talked about, that would probably be a post-release thing. I'm not going to hold up the English version because obviously, Timo, you can play the English one, and so can Roger. I don't know why Roger keeps complaining. So Roger can play the English one, and Timo can play the English one. So I think we'll start with the English one because that's the fastest, and then we'll see about making this translator class thing that might be able to assemble dynamic languages and piece it together. So let me know, people, if you think that's important. I'll do what people want. If they really want, Archmage in other languages, then we'll do that. And if people are like, meh, it's not that important, then I won't do it.
Putting it up to the public vote.
Pretty much, yeah. We're pretty democratic over here at Archmage Rises, That's one of my things. Everybody knows that about me. Thomas is a real man of the people. No.
Democratic game development.
Nick was probably cringing when he heard that. Okay, so let's talk about let's talk about the economy. So a couple episodes back in update 67, so that's five updates ago, I talked about the economy and how the economy needed to be fixed, and how we have this conceptual town called Craft Town, and then we have this other town, like let's say Lumber Town, and we need to get lumber from Lumber Town to Craft Town, so Craft Town can turn it into furniture and sell it back to Lumber Town. So that kind of concept, and so that led me. I already knew that I needed to fix the economy because the economy wasn't working at all, and the current build that's over a year old that people can play right now has trading in it, and the new build 11, doesn't even have trading working like at all, like, and so it really bothered me that I was like losing features as I went along. So that's why I really tackled working on the economy. And I'll also say that, I've been working on build 11, and I thought that it was going to be done at the end of last year, and I can't believe now it's the mid-June and I'm still working on build 11. It would be funny if it wasn't so sad, Timo. So anyway, I said earlier this year that there's 3 big things that I have to get working in order for build 11 to come out, and I already did one of them. And then the second one is the economy, and I'm happy to report it's almost done. I'm almost done the economy. And I'll give more of an update of that in a second. And so there's only the third one remaining. And so right now, I can't believe I'm about to say this, I think that I might be done build 11 in about 2 weeks. Can you believe that?
Oh, so in about 6 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. I'm lying. So I say 2 weeks. I don't actually know how long it's going to take in order to do the third big thing. But this is the first time in 6 months that I've really felt like the game is really getting in a good place. Like things are working, it's solid. Like I'm pretty excited. So I can go back.
You're proud of to put out.
Yeah, I can go back to making false promises again. Like that's how good things are going. So let's dive into the economy a bit. So in order for the economy to function, it comes down to individuals functioning, like little NPCs with their jobs. And so this past 2 weeks, I've gone through and reworked the actor, the alchemist, the armorer, the artist, the banker, the blacksmith, the brewer, the carpenter, the distiller, the field worker, the fisherman, the healer, the herbalist, the herder, the innkeeper, the jeweler, the logger, the outfitter, the miner, the paper maker, the shipwright, the soldier, the stonecutter, the tailor, the vintner, the weaponsmith, the weaver, the merchant, and the trader. And the trader was the hardest one of all. I left it to the very, very end. After I got all those other guys working, then I went to the trader, and it actually wasn't that bad because I had to solve like so many problems along the way. So for instance, the field worker, he works at a grain field, and the grain field is in a hex outside of the town, right? So the town is in a hex, and then outside of it is a bunch of hexes, and one of them will have a grain field on it. So he has to leave the city and go to that grain field hex, and he could get attacked on the way or whatever. Like things can happen to him as he goes there. And then he works there, and then he comes back to end his workday, and then he has to like sleep for the night and whatever. So when I go to work on the soldier, and he has to go out and kind of hunt monsters like around the town, well, I already had the field worker part of like going to different hexes around the town. So then when I had the trader and I needed him to go from town to town, I already kind of had that. I just had to tell him, like, go to this town. So for those that have really been following, like Timo, who's watched every update, I kind of laid out this new AI task system that I was building. It's really worked out well. I'm surprised, actually, after the fact, how well it actually worked out. Because I was just guessing 6 weeks ago that it would work. And so I have this task system, so I can say to the trader, hey, travel to this particular town, do some trades, come back home, and it just works. It just kind of magically works. Like the trader is, I think, 12 lines of code now, because I have all these different tasks that have already been programmed in, and I can make a new job just by assigning different kinds of tasks to it.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
And will probably also make it easier to make new jobs once you come across them, although it was already a pretty extensive list.
Well, I kind of feel there's about 30 or 40 more jobs that we should add to the game, but I only say that because Nick isn't here to tell me not to. And you're just a special guest. You're not going to tell me not to add 30 more jobs, are you?
It's a democratic game development, so you can tell us in the comments.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Anyways, I'm not going to add 30 more jobs. These are all the jobs that need to be there for the economy to run, so that's coming.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got all those jobs working, and now I'm going to show a little bit of the game, a little bit of the economy kind of working, just to show how the simulator really is working, and I think it's pretty cool. I'm going to show you just two things from all the work that I've done this week, or these past 2 weeks, actually. Okay, so here we have our map, and there's a town here, and there's a town here, and there's a town here, and this town. I'll zoom in a little bit. Okay, so we got these towns, and you'll see they're not connected by any roads, and that is by intent, because I have this new thing that actually tracks the movement of the people, and as they move across hexes, that like builds up what I call traffic, and as traffic accumulates in a particular direction, it'll start laying down roads. So I could show you that. Okay, so you'll see like little people like move around. There's the soldiers, and they're going and they're doing their jobs, and then we get to the end of the day, they go back home and stuff, and then it becomes nighttime. But I'm just going to use fast time.
But then it starts laying down roads where people are actually moving?
Yes.
Oh, that's pretty realistic.
Yeah, I know. And it's actually not that hard. It wasn't that hard to pull off, which was
nice.
Quite surprising. Okay, so now we got some traders. It's maybe hard to see that little logo, but anyways, that's an icon for trader there. And he's going to be moving to the various towns. And so as the traders go along, they generate that traffic. Oh, see, there's a start of a road right here. So there's been enough traffic to start a road. Oh, now there's enough traffic between these two towns to generate a road. So those two towns are connected. And these guys, I guess there hasn't been enough trading. And so this is where something like if one town has metal, then like you're going to see roads all going to the town that has metal. And if one town doesn't have anything but a bunch of farms, then they're not maybe even going to have roads coming to them. They'll just have one road coming to them. Oh, there we go. They're starting to fill in. And there you go. Now they're all connected up.
Amazing to see the world coming together like that.
Thank you. All right. So that's one thing that I pulled off this week. Again, anytime that I get to show the simulation actually working and doing things, that's what I'm trying to do. Build 11, you're really going to feel the world is alive. That's what I'm trying to achieve. Okay, so the next thing is I'm going to go to the marketplace. And okay, so you see here's the merchant, and there's nobody here. Okay, so if I go and I look at you see these are the traders that are going along. Okay, so they're going. I think it's hard to tell. Okay, we got it. Okay, there are 3 people here. Okay, so now here I am at the marketplace, and I see, hey, there's 3 other people here besides this guy. I'm pretty sure besides this guy. Oh no, he's listed in there too. Okay, there's 2 other people here, and the reason that these 2 people are here are those are the traders. So the traders travel along, and then when they get there, they go to the market, and they're there for a couple hours, and they do their business, they do their trades, and then they leave. So I can go and interact with them, except there's a bug right now and I can't actually show you that. But anyway, the fact that these people showed up here is all real. They really did come here and they did some trades with this particular guy. And so the other part of that is also true, that when they sleep for the night, you'll see them in the inn. So if you go to the inn and you see some other people at the inn, you can ask them who they are and why they're there, and they'll say, oh, I'm a trader from this town. And you even ask them, why are you coming here? Oh, I came here to buy furniture or food or metal or whatever. And so this is just another, I don't know, proof or example of how the simulator is working. So what do you think, Timo?
Yeah, there was a big discussion, right, about to what extent you should simulate the economy and to what depth. But this seems pretty neat.
All right. Well, that's what I'm going for. I'm trying to make a really beautiful dwarf fortress.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
not a high bar to cross.
Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, that's all I have to show this week of the progress. But yeah, things are going really well, and I'm just about finished this economy stuff. and then I'm going to go tackle the third big thing, which has to do with the dynamic quests and finishing dynamic quests and stuff. It's one of those things. It's like 80% done. It's kind of broken, but it's mostly done, and it just needs that last bit to like pull it all together. And then once I'm done that third big thing, then I think I can I put out a real fake date for when Build 11 will be ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
And with those features, it should be fun to play.
Yeah.
With the working economy and the quests and the world actually doing things under you.
That's what I'm hoping for. I hope people get Build 11. They go, hey, this is really fun.
Yeah.
And it's emergent fun instead of scripted fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks, Timo, for being on this week. And we'll see what people have to say about the multilingual stuff. And we will talk to you again. Bye.
Thanks for having me. Bye.